Hi guys, ExeterRider, hope you're doing well. Whee! Hello mate. So yeah, I just wanted to knock up a vid and just give you a bit of an update on my BMW, which I know I made a video a little while ago, which I was saying I was falling out of love with it, and I did, big time. And there's a few reasons for that, which I didn't sort of give away, because I needed to make up this video to let you know why. Now this bike for me was always a bike I really loved, but as with all things BMW, it does get a bit scary when things start to not behave the way that they should, and that's what I was getting with this bike. I had a few issues, and I guess it kind of started really probably about 6 months ago now. Yeah, probably about 6 months ago, when there's a few things I had to do to it because it was causing me a bit of grief, and it just wasn't sounding right. The tappets were tapping away a bit too much for what they should have been, and so I thought I'd give it a good service. So don't forget that when I bought this bike there was a lot that needed doing to it. I don't think the oil had been changed for a long time. The oil filter was rusty, you know, so that it must have been stuck out in the rain for a while and not been changed for a while. There's quite a lot of fur in the gearbox oil. Just check what's going on down here. Yeah, a lot of fur in the gearbox oil, and yeah, so it needed a proper going through, and probably a little bit more than what I wanted to go through the bike, really. So got all that done, and what's going on down here? Get snagged up down here quite a lot now. Yeah, so I got all that done, and then I had the issue with the drive shaft that you might remember going back some time ago now, where it was all seized up on the drive shaft and I had to heat it up and smash it apart, which again was a bit of a game. And nice spike there. And then it got to the point where I had to do the valves, done the valves. That was problematic as well, because of whatever I'd done, I just couldn't seem to. It just running like a bag of spanners. It really was, and it's to the point where I didn't know what to do anymore. I kept on taking it apart, and it just wasn't happening. So I got to the point where, as I say, I was falling out of love with the bike because it's just so problematic, and it just wasn't to the level that I wanted it at. So in the end, I gave up in the end. It was that horrible feeling when you think, you know what, I've got to take this to a garage and get this sorted out. So I took it down to Treen Motors, actually, in Marsh Bar in Exeter. They've been, you know, mechanics for years on bikes, got a good reputation. They deal with Lex Moto mainly, but yeah, I took it to the garage, come back, it was a lot better. It was a lot better, but it was still a bag of spanners, and I still couldn't work out what the hell was going on with it. And it's just a horrible feeling when you love a bike, but it's just scaring the crap out of you because you think it's going to cost you an absolute fortune. You know, obviously this is BMW prices here, isn't it, that we're talking about. So yeah, so I had to I got it back and everything was looking a little bit more hunky-dory. So that happened. Then I went to the garage one day and I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna fill this bike up and get rid of it, you know, start to think about selling it. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it some expensive fuel for a change, rather than use an E10, which apparently these bikes do run on fine. I'm going to try their more pricey stuff. And I went on, put some E5 in, started the bike up, and guess what? It started running like a dream again. So I worked out that all those problems that I had were mainly down to E10 fuel. Which, and I can't tell you what the difference is. I know, I mean, obviously petrol's petrol, but obviously the E10 stuff is slightly different. I could not believe, I need to spin round here really, don't I? I could not believe what the difference was. I'm just going to get a pasty a minute and I'll catch up with you in a minute. Right, so that place I just was, used to be called the Ginger Cat Cafe in Exeter. Absolutely lovely, really, really nice pasties. I don't know what it's called now, it's called something else now, but that's a cheese and onion one there. They've just been taken over, but I think we've struggled to find a nicer, well certainly when it's called the Ginger Cat, it was a really nice place for pasties. Anyway, I'm going to take it home and share with the missus. Yeah, so I've had a right old run with it with this bike, and I utterly fell out of love with it. Loved the bike in the beginning, and then it's just started to really sort of grate me with all its little foibles that foibles? Yeah, well, it's foibles that was bugging me at the time. But I've just got back into it now, and I've started to love the bike again. Going back to the E10 fuel, it all seems so obvious to me now. There you go, so lesson learnt there. I've had the brakes done as well. Well, when I say I've had the brakes done, when I first got the bike, I'm not sure if you remember, but I was really struggling with the tyres. And part of the reason I was struggling with the tyres is because the brakes had never been bled. And so the brakes are either on or off, and the back end just kept on locking up. Whereas now that I've bled the brakes for the first, you know, it probably hadn't been done since 1998. Now that I've bled them, they're so, oh, they're beautiful to use now. You know, they're Brembos anyway on the front and the back, and they're so easy to moderate now, and the whole thing's riding like a dream. But yeah, so I got back from the petrol station thinking, holy crap, it's all sorted now, I can put that to bed. And then I had problems changing gear, and what was happening was I was clicking it up, but it just wasn't quite going into gear, all going down. So I thought, oh, bloody hell, you know, here we go, this is going to be a new gearbox or a new selector fork or whatever. And what it turned out, I went onto the forum in the end, actually, on Facebook, and asked them, and they just said, well, just lube up the rear brake lever, which is over here. So yeah, so I thought, right, okay, I'll give it a lube. I can't see that being a problem, because surely if it goes up, it goes up, and if it goes down, it goes down. And sure enough, I lubed it up. I actually tried to take it apart, but one of the bolts that was holding on to this one here just overturned, and it's not cross-threaded, what's the word? You know, it just lost it's a hex key on it, and it wasn't turning, it just overdone in the end. So, but anyway, it's done that, and again, it's changing gear absolutely perfectly now. So my mission when I first got this bike was always to try and get it to run like a modern day BMW. I'm never going to get that, and I wasn't really expecting that to be the outcome, but I did want it to run a lot smoother than what it does. Or what it did, sorry. And it's, you know, and I've done that now, I've cracked it. I'm hoping that's the end of the, you know, the whole BMW saga which I've had to bring it up to spec. As ACF50'd it now as well, so it's starting to come back to life. The bits of rust on it here and there still bug me, but you know, I have to remember that I only paid 1,700 quid for this. And you know, at the end of the day, it's an old engine, isn't it? It's 21, well, what was it, 25 years old, and you know, all this flaking of the enamel on the engine is just part of the BMW thing. That's just what they do. But again, you know, the reason I bought it was because I wanted a bike that was built like a tank. You know, I wanted something that was reliable, that ironically wasn't going to give me any problems, which it has. But it's all problems which I've learned from, and it's all part of owning this bike, you know, all part of its character, I suppose you could say. So at the moment I'm back on keeping it again and just enjoying it because it is so nice to ride. I really enjoy riding this bike, certainly now that the brake's done, and everything's just so smooth and supple on it now. You know, the gear change is nice now, like that, like what I would expect a BMW to change gear like this one does now. So and the power delivery on that boxer engine, it is just wonderful. It really is. You know, it'll pull from low revs and it'll just take off. It's just such a joy to ride. I just really enjoy the way that it delivers its power, you know, compared to, I don't know, like the Japanese bikes where you have to sort of stir the gearbox a bit more. This just has a nice pull on it, and it doesn't vibrate very much either, which is a big thing for me, because you know, it's just nice to have a bike which doesn't sort of shake you around or make your hands feel buzzy at the end of a long ride. The only thing which I'm going to add now, because I'll probably be taking this on the Saddlebag 73 ride out, is the throttle lock. I just want one of those. I found it really useful on the NC, so I can, you know, turn the throttle if I'm on the motorway and just lock it off. I don't find it unsafe, because all you have to do, if you do need to knock it off, is you just go like that. You know, you just turn it and it's off again. So it's just a nice thing to have. So I'm going to add a throttle lock at some point. But apart from that, you know, I'm still really pleased with the bike. It's just been a bit of a journey, and I suppose it always was going to be that way. It was always going to be a bit of a journey with this bike, because, you know, I bought a bike which was 1,700 quid. So for all that, you know, if I spent on it, I probably spent, I don't know, about 500 quid. So just over 2 grand has got me a, you know, a really decent bike. Yeah, well, 2,300, whatever. So yeah, I'm really pleased with it, and back to normal. Right, end of video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you Sunday normal time at 4 PM. See you later, guys.